Hello, I'm David Cassidy with the market summary. Today, Armistice Day, the 11th of November 2020. We previously stated that while the US presidential election was important, it is progress on a coronavirus vaccine that will have a far greater impact on global equity markets, as a vaccine will allow economies to fully reopen and thus speed up the economic recovery. And that several pharmaceutical companies were due to announce their Phase 3 trial results in the coming weeks. And Phase 3 is just one step away from regulatory approval. And on Monday, the 9th of November, we had an announcement from the US pharmaceutical company Pfizer, which literally blew our socks off. The coronavirus vaccine was over 90% effective in a trial involving over 43,500 participants. The effectiveness was expected to be around 60 to 70%, so 90% is extraordinary. Additionally, on Monday, Novavax, a US biotechnology company, announced that the US FDA, the Food and Drug Administration Authority, had granted a fast-track designation to its coronavirus vaccine, while Moderna, another US biotechnology company, is expected to report its vaccine trial results any day now. As a result, global equity markets have risen sharply this week. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones has risen nearly 1,100 points, or 3.87% so far this week, and the broader S&P 500 index has risen over 1%. In the UK, the FTSE 100 index is currently up over 6.5% this week. Not only does this represent a huge first step back to some much needed normality in the coming year, but is a game changer in terms of the recovery for the more beaten down equity markets, such as the FTSE 100. Now, due to the FTSE 100's constituent makeup, the index is dominated by sectors such as oil and gas, accounting for around 8.5% of the index, and financials accounting for 19.5%. And these sectors have been particularly hard hit by the coronavirus-induced economic contraction, and as a consequence, before this week's vaccine announcement, the FTSE 100 index was down over 20% since the start of the year. So while we fully appreciate that the Pfizer vaccine or any of the other vaccines currently being trialled will still take time to finish its development and get approval, not to mention produce and distribute, we believe this week's market moves are only the beginning, as a safe and effective vaccine is the ultimate economic stimulus that the global economy desperately needs. So furthermore, the confirmation of Joe Biden as US President-elect is likely to result in a more moderate centrist agenda and a less combative stance towards China, and these two should also help to revise global trade, which in turn will be very good for global markets.